What's up, everybody? It's your boy Dave Mo. Welcome to the channel. So in today's video, someone had left a question in the comments. I'm driving, so I can't really focus on the camera. I apologize. So someone had left a comment, or a question rather, or I guess both, right? If you leave it, it's a comment, and then they propose it as a question. And it's, how do I make money with mechanics wanting so much for their labor right now? And I can tell you right off the bat, 110%, I have a great mechanic. It's Leroy. He's like family. But even before we got to that level, we had a pre-negotiated rate that I paid. And I pay on what's called book time. All right? So for those of you guys that don't know what book time is, it's a book. It's called a book. I guess it used to be a book. But you go online. I use Real-Time Auto Labor Guide. It's $12 a month. And for that $12, I could look up any car I want, any job I want. And it tells me how many hours it'll take to complete that job. So, for instance, let's just say I wanted to look up an alternator in a 2017 Nissan Altima. You would just put in 2017 Nissan Altima, it asks you the motor, it asks you the transmission, and then it'll say what you want to do, and you want an R&R alternator. And it'll tell you, hey, it's going to take 3 hours, right? My pre-negotiated rate, I already put in there, and then it tells me how much I'm going to pay. And that's just the deal that we had from Jump Street, right? So it didn't matter whatever I was going to do because we already had a pre-negotiated rate. So I knew, he knew, it kept everyone honest. And here's where a lot of mechanics don't like doing it. They like to get paid per job, meaning they could say, hey, that alternator is gonna be $300. Well, that means you're paying $100 an hour for labor, which in my opinion is way too high, right? So get rid of those mechanics. You don't want to use those guys because they're, in my opinion, they're not like a real mechanic. A real seasoned mechanic, they might charge you 50, 60, 70 an hour and use the book time, but they'll know they'll knock that job out in an hour and a half, 2 hours. Do you lose hours? Yes, you do. But you're also paying for 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years of experience that got that individual to be as fast as they are at doing what it is they're doing, the tricks of the trade, if you will, right? It's like you're a new car dealer, you're not making as much profit as the guy that's been in the game for 10, 15, 20 years. Well, the reason why that individual over there is making so much money is because they know, tricks of the trade. They know how to squeeze out a little bit of extra money. They know where to invest money into the said vehicle, so on and so forth. So don't think that if you're using book time and they're doing it faster than what the book says that you're getting cheated. You're not. Calculated into that price comes experience. And it's very difficult to put a dollar sign on experience. So that's how I do it. How do I find the mechanics? Honestly, Facebook Marketplace. I look for mobile mechanics, and I get them. I tell them what I want done, and they'll give me a price, and I'll negotiate the price down. And when I get someone that wants to do it, as long as they're good and they can get it done, and I tell them it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to pay you. This is what I'm going to pay you, right? And they get the job done. I say, look, man, I'm a very small mom and pop's car dealer. I buy cars, and this is what I tend to buy, and this is usually what it needs to get done. Are you interested in, being my go-to? Yeah, I'm down to do that, because now they know they have a steady income where they might not be making as much as the guy that they put in one alternator for with me, but they're making steady money. Every single week, I'm calling them up with new jobs, right? So I build a rapport with them. I also take care of my mechanics. I'm not afraid to tip them. I'm not afraid to buy them lunch. All this gets factored into the bottom line of that vehicle anyway, right? I mean, I'm not buying them fucking ribeye and shit like that, but I have no problem going to the store and being like, picking them up 2 slices of pizza and a Coke or a Whopper or a Big Mac or a sandwich, a pub sub, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? So that's all simple. But the biggest, now I'm going to say this right now, and if you're a mechanic watching this, I am not trying to insult you by any means whatsoever. But if you go, the biggest thing you can do for yourself is learn how to diagnose your vehicle. So I make money not knowing how to turn a wrench, okay? I cannot turn a wrench if my life depended on it. Number one, I'm smart enough to do it, right? Like, I'm a smart enough individual that I can figure out how to replace an alternator. I can figure out how the gauges work. I know how to pump down AC systems and charge it with the Freon, etc., etc. You could learn anything, all right? I don't think anyone cannot learn anything. The bottom line is, mechanics work for their money. You ever see a mechanic that's clean? They own the shop, all right? The mechanics doing the work, they are greasy. They got dirt under their nails, all kinds of nonsense. I don't want to do anything that has to do with that. So what I'm going to tell you is, learn how to diagnose your vehicles, okay? Well, how do I learn how to diagnose my vehicle? Very simple. Right now, this car, it's got a little bit of a shake, right? So I can tell you a few things. One of the wheels are bent. 2, it's got a bubble. 3, it needs tires. If it goes further than that, it could be a tie rod end, whatever. You jack it up, you rotate the tire. If it looks like it's going like this, you know you either got a bubble or a bent rim. If you shake it back and forth and you got some play, then you know you got something in terms of the control arm, tie rod end, etc., etc. All of which is not expensive to fix, okay? None of that stuff's expensive to do. I could take the car to a tire shop. I could put the front tires on the back, see if I still got the shake. I could do a number of things. But how did I get to that point? Paying attention. I pay attention to the vehicles I'm driving, okay? When I start hearing a noise, when I turn the car and I hear a weird noise coming from the engine, I start to troubleshoot. Let me turn the AC off. Oh, the noise went away. Let me turn the AC back on. Oh, the noise came back. Okay, chances are I got a compressor issue. Nope, whether I turn it on or off, the noise is still there. Let me go look at my tensioner, right? So now I'm looking down, I notice the tensioner is shaking like this. All right, so I probably need a tensioner. Again, not a big deal. 2 bolts, take the serpentine belt off, replace it. I don't want to do it. So when I go to the mechanic, I'm like, yeah, I want to change out the tensioner. Okay, now, because I'm telling the mechanic what I want, I'm taking responsibility for that fix. If they do the fix and it doesn't fix the issue, that's on me. They did what I told them to do. My motor, there's like, when I'm driving, there's a shaking, right? Or when I'm at a light, it starts to shake. Well, the car's shaking, but I don't have a misfire. Probably going to be motor mounts. So what am I going to do? For me, the way I check it is I put the e-brake on. I have someone jump in the driver's seat, hold the brake and give it gas. If I notice the motor is moving excessively, then I know I need motor mounts. When I go to change motor mounts on a vehicle, I don't care if it's the wishbone, the dog bone, I don't care if it's a transmission, the left, the right, it doesn't matter. I buy a complete set of motor mounts, and I have the mechanic change every single motor mount in the vehicle. At this point, there's no saying, oh, well, you still got a little bit of a shake because that one was worn out. Now I gotta go buy another one. Screw that, I'll buy them all, and then I'll put it in the posting. All motor mounts and transmission mounts have been changed. Perfect. And again, here's where the mechanics are gonna hate me. In my opinion, strictly in my opinion, there are not too many. So here, mechanics aren't gonna get offended. Parts changers are gonna get offended. In my opinion, there's not too many real deal mechanics left in the world. Pre like 1996, before you had these OBD2 sensors, readers, scanners, you used to have to actually know your way around an engine, right? Now, even if you take your car to Lexus or Toyota or Nissan, the diagnostic fee is $175, give or take. All they're going to do is hook it up to a computer and run through it and be like, oh yeah, this is what it needs. They might lift it up and shake it around like, okay, yeah, you need tie rod ends. Yeah, your struts are looking like they're kind of bad. But 90% of that is coming from what the computer's printing out for them, right? And all it says is, hey, your camshaft sensor's bad. All right, so you throw a camshaft sensor in, the day's done. So spend the money, buy yourself a good scanner. For instance, one of the scanners that I always go to, I have multiple scanners, is it's made by a company named Launch, Launch, I guess, Launch. It's not to be confused with Launch USA. Launch USA is a company here in the States that also makes scanners. I've never actually had my hands on one to tell you if they're good or bad, so I don't know that, but I use Launch from, I guess, China. I get it on Amazon. I pay $7, $8, $9, $1,000. I spent upwards of a couple thousand for different scanners to do different things. If I want to use the VDS system, if I want to use certain things that you can't do with a regular, if I want it to be bi-directional, I want to be able to rewrite ECUs and TCMs and BCMs and rekey cars. You don't have to jump to that scanner right away. Get yourself a good scanner. As a matter of fact, in my backpack right now, I have Blue Driver. It's simply a Bluetooth one that plugs into the OBD2 port, and the app comes up on my phone. It'll give me the code. I can hit the code, and it Googles the code for me, and I'll know what to do. And then what I'll do is, one step further, I will start Googling and YouTubing how this can be rectified. How can I fix this issue? Because you want to know why is that happening. Then you want to fix it. You want to address it, all right? You don't want to keep throwing parts at it, because all that's going to do is get away from your bottom line, right? So with that being said, guys, I hope this was helpful. That's how I make money, not knowing how to do mechanics at all. That's how I'm still able to be profitable on my cars. That's how I know I'm not getting ripped off by my mechanics. Because yes, Leroy does the majority of the work on the vehicles I bring in, but I do have to use other mechanics. Otherwise, Leroy can't get to his other customers, which he makes more money on, and I have to wait longer to get vehicles done. And it doesn't make any sense not selling a car because I need a hub bearing because Leroy can't get to it for 4 days. I'm better off calling Joe Schmo from up the block, having them come in, swap out the hub bearing, and being done with it. Really and truly, I'm better off just doing it myself and saving the money. But like I said, I have no desire to be a mechanic. And I feel like I addressed the question well. But if you guys need more input on that subject, just let me know in the comments below. Again, these are not shots fired at mechanics. I absolutely think you guys have one of the hardest jobs around. You have to deal with all kinds of nonsense, and it's just, it's what it is. And yes, I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos where, I guess there's a shortage of mechanics, if you will, over, I guess, this diagnostic stuff. I don't necessarily know the answer to that question, other than if you own a shop and you're charging your customer for diagnostic, you should consider that an hour or two of labor for your mechanic, right? So tell the mechanic, yo, go spend an hour or two on this, try to find the issue. If in that hour or two you can't find the issue, then you have to readdress it with the customer. Or get a mechanic that doesn't want to do mechanics. Get maybe a seasoned mechanic who's tired of turning wrenches and is okay saying, hey, you know what? I'll do all your diagnostics for you because I'm that good of a mechanic, but I just don't want to turn wrenches anymore. And that mofo just sits there and does, kind of like the easy jobs, do an alternator, do a compressor, whatever. But everything that comes in that needs to be diagnosed, he's running it for you. And at least this way, you got, a plethora of knowledge on your team. And because the last thing you ever want to do is get rid of someone that's knowledgeable. Don't ever get rid of someone on your team that's knowledgeable, because they're going to take that knowledge with them. So when the new jacks are there and they're like, hey, how can I do this? This guy's going in his toolbox and you're looking at 2 wrenches welded together on a crazy ass angle. Bam, he's got it. That comes with experience. That's knowledge. So that would be my suggestion to anyone who finds themselves losing mechanics over diagnostic fees. Take care of your mechanics, man. With that being said, guys, I hope this was helpful. Definitely, let me know in the comments. We're out of here.